you've been talking about this 12 to 18 month timeline. We've definitely, repeatedly, you've mentioned it. And I've actually been thinking that we're more likely to see a rebound before the election. As we move towards the election, everything will start to look rosy. And I'm not being political. It just seems like historically that tends to be whatever can be done ahead of an election to boost the economy is generally done. But when you talk about a 12 to 18 month horizon, that definitely sounds like a Nike swoosh rather than a U-shaped recovery. Is that something that, like, what gives you that? Why are you thinking that it's 12 to 18 and not shorter?
So first of all, heck if I know, right? Wish I did. I think that the 12 to 18 months is that everyone who's talked about vaccine development has said that to get a vaccine developed into market will take at least that amount of time. So there is very clearly the opportunity for therapeutics to be developed. There is very clearly the opportunity for us to get broad testing across the country and around the world to allow for people to get back to some semblance of work. And there's also the opportunity to create personal protective equipment in mass to allow it that people can wear masks and gloves and protect themselves when they go out to do quote unquote normal activities. So a lot of those things could, break the right way, if you will, to make it so that we get back to something closer to the new normal earlier than later. But I also think through everything from, what's going to drive me to have our next Walker & Dunlop all-company meeting when I voluntarily bring together 850 employees to some hotel somewhere and say, let's all celebrate us and our company and all we've done together. I'm probably not going to do it this year. It's voluntary. Until we have some type of vaccine in place, I'm probably not doing something like that. You may get therapeutics, you may get testing widespread, you may get PPE, but do I want to bring 850 people together with masks and gloves on? Doesn't that defeat the purpose of why you're bringing everyone together? Right. So my only point is, what I consistently go back to is there are a lot of people talking about the economy getting back up and going. And I clearly believe that we will get up to some new semblance of business activity in May and June and July, where factory workers can go back to the factory and people can start doing things in a somewhat more normalized basis. But I use as my indicator my car. So my car sits in my garage and I use it right now once, maybe twice a week. Once because we do a weekly webcast at Walker & Dunlop and I go to my office to do that. And the other time is when I go to the grocery store once a week to go with my wife and we pick up groceries. That's it. That's it. It's the only usage my car gets on a weekly basis. So take that and then think about when we're not in these conditions, how often my car is being used. My car is going to the grocery store. It's going to restaurants for dinner. It's going to the mall to buy supplies. It's going to go shopping with my kids. It's picking a kid up from a travel basketball game. It's all these other things that make it so that my car is being used 10 times a day. And right now it's being used twice a week. So I think that it's too simplistic to sort of sit there and be like, oh, well, we'll get back to normal kind of business activity and the economy will come back, until you think about my car being used 10 times a day rather than twice a week. And so I just think that to think that we're back to anything close to my car being used 10 times a day is fanciful anytime in the near future. And I guess the only thing I'd say to my car, I probably ought to say my wife's car being used 10 times a day, because typically I get up in the morning and drop my kids off at school and I go to the office, might do a meeting in the middle of the day. But you understand what I'm trying to say.